Okay, let's come out here. We'll start to, let's see. Guess we don't want to go too extreme. We might wait for Anthony. Anthony's been pretty regular. So let's, if he doesn't show, then we'll bow informally. But yeah, what I'd like us to do a little bit is start non-Hanmi. Okay, and in fact, why don't we come forward a little bit? Yeah, you're not in the camera, not that you know, right? Okay. Now, what I'd like you to do, there's this motion, which is how you, right, swinging side to side. Okay. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is this motion. See, what you're doing right here, you're forming kind of a V. Okay. Here, you're forming an X. Okay. 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 Now, it's much more common to move this way. Okay. But let's say he's coming with a thrusting motion. I'm going this way. Okay. But this way, right? Now, for example, then he's coming, he can come in underneath that in some form. We're moving this way. So instead of, let's establish the V pattern. Okay, now initially what you want to do, see, I start the V with the arms. But really what you're doing, you're even here, this is the movement of your hips, which means you've got some ground. Okay, that's your V. Now, this is your X. Okay, and again, see, I'm out here. A lot of Aikido, for example, the actual forms teach you to move this way. But a deeper level of you, the forms outwardly don't change, but all of a sudden, okay, in other words, the outward motion of the staff is going to your right, but you have a left balance. Now, the outward motion of your staff is going left, but you have a right balance. Okay? Now, the other thing to kind of do a little bit is there's a point out there, and that point doesn't move very much. It doesn't go like this. Okay? For example, here, if he's coming in this way, if I go this way, but see right here, you go. Okay? You see, so one, you're not, this is like swatting motion. All right, this is like there's motion out there, but it's not all over the place. All right, and the motion out there is like that point is to some degree the point inside you, out there. You know, they're talking. If this point inside you is moving all over, you're not going to be terribly focused. Okay. Hi, Anthony. But right here, we're just simply. Okay, now this is a linear thinker, mover. This is a nonlinear thinker, mover. Okay. You can look left and dribble right. You can look right past left. Okay. And there's motion here, but we don't want the swinging. Say the V is a swinger. All right. This is a little different. All right. All right. So let's just say, for example, he's coming with a thrusting motion, right? All right. Okay. Thrust. Right. Now, if I go this way, see what happens? Or conversely, he comes in, now keep it firmer, but even here, come on, with a little adjustment. So you're coordinating the point in here with the point out there and connecting the two, okay? We don't want a lot of swinging, okay? You know, when Sada Haruo was young, he was a swinger, okay? Then as he learned how, it's like, this is very deceptive because see, this is the V, right? But right here, see, boom, right? So you make this motion very big, but you don't want the point to swing out there that much. So when somebody says focus here, yeah, you can think about that and then you mess up out there. But what it is a little bit, right? Okay. Uh, free the hips. Okay, now when you're moving that way, the hips don't move side to side much. They're ball and socket joints. Yeah. And then you say without being rigid out there, you're just easy and loose. Now you're getting a lot of swing. What I'm saying a little bit is here and here. There's a little bit of motion in that point out there, but there's not that much. Okay. Okay, now less of a studier and more of a mover. Yeah, free it up. You know enough, okay? If you keep studying it, I'm studying strike three if I'm a baseball. Strike three. What do you want to do? Strike three. I don't want to study strike three that much. Okay, so, okay. And let's just say we're walking. Somebody comes with a thrusting motion right here. Sada Haruo actually put it this way. He said, all power is generated in a triangle. There's a base here, and there's a point out there. That's swinging. See how we're saying this way and this way? Well, that's the nose posture. Now, if you rotate the hips a little bit more, the bat doesn't have a lot of swing, does it? Because when you have a lot of swing, the pitcher has the advantage. That's a short, sweet Sada Haruo swing. Okay? So what we're establishing, your feet are non-triangle, but your feet right here are the base of a triangle. Out there is the point. Now the movement of the hips is a circle, isn't it? Circle can turn either way. But the point, you lose the triangle when there's too much drift out there. Or you lose right here, I'm creating a huge opening, even if it's a little motion. But here I can go this way and this way, this way and this way. Okay? If, for example, he grabs, okay, all right. A swinging motion. We do that a lot when somebody holds your wrist, except we get in the habit of swinging. Then we relax a little bit and swing a little better. But, all right. So what I want you to do See, your feet represents, you're creating a triangle, but it's not your usual Aikido triangle, but it's still a triangle. Now, the movement of a staff, you don't want, this is a V. I'm forming a V. We're forming an X, forming an X. And the tip out there has focus, but it's not locked and fixed. Okay? And your hips don't set. Okay? If I'm Stephen Curry and I shift to this side and somebody's a little slow, I'm going to go that way. If they recover, I'm going to cross over. Okay? So this is a principle you see in all motion. In our culture, we don't think so much about sword fighting. So you look at great athletes, this is how they move. Or if we go back in time to Japan in the 70s and 80s, you have Sada Haruo. Okay, good. Now, let's get into a left triangle. And this is very deceptive. I see the thrusting motion as a swinging motion. I see the thrusting motion as more of this is a big X, this is a small X. And if I can do that, I keep the point inside me. Or the smooth execution of that gives me a body feel sense when the point is where it's supposed to be inside me. Okay? So feel. Other than that, we just copy a form and we get better at it out there. Okay? Well, since they probably spent hours working just on this one movement, scoping it out. Okay? Keep going. See, right here, if we just say we're forming an X as opposed to a V. Okay? Now here, most people form a V. There's drift there. But I want you to see how that's a very thin, long X. Okay? And when you have that, see what happens is wherever you have the ability to, right? If you're, okay. You see? And the smooth motion lets you know you're aligned in motion to that point. When you start to set, you form the V. But we want to form the X in the motion. When you form the X, see, the X has an intersection point, and when that's fluid, that's where you are. If I'm setting and locking, I have to unset to move. I become a linear mover, therefore I'm a linear thinker. Okay, and here you can see Donald Trump and Joe Biden here, and you're still going to vote, right? And you know what'll you have a feel for what'll happen with Trump, and you have a feel, yeah, but you're fluid. You know, if you hate one of them, you start to set, and that's very, very easy to do these days. Aikido, we kind of want to, since they said don't judge things good or evil, all right? Because when we do that, we have to be able to discern. There's certain stuff that's not good, all right? Yeah, discernment is like a sword or a spear. You're getting right to the heart of it. But we say, well, that's, yeah, or that's, no. You're always going to have a light in the dark, okay? But I want you to see how right here, see the swinging motion, but it's a very, very long, thin X, okay? Okay, now right here, when you do that, you set. So this thing, if you're coming this direction, it's like, when I set, you see, then there's a, right? Now if you're going back the other way, it's like, okay, good. Okay. Now, if you come back the other way, I'm swinging, I'm V-shaping. Okay, now right over here, come on, I can be on the other side. Boom, boom. So a lot of Aikido, you see, is really, there's a technology to it, okay? There's a technology to it. You stand in the center, but it's a very flexible center. And when you're moving, it's really difficult to focus on this and be able to operate out there. Second, I start to think about this, all of a sudden I disconnect from out there. So usually I go, it doesn't help you. Okay, then I get too busy out there swinging at everything, I lose this. So there's a type of thing, for example, here, if David is coming in this direction with a thrusting motion, okay, good. So I start to swing that way, but come on. What am I doing? This is a, huh? This is a form of the X right here. Boom. Okay. Oh, wow. See, a lot of times you'd be surprised. You learn something when your attacker just runs into something, and you say, well, that's kind of interesting. That's a part of the move most people ignore. They're so constant that they, oh, this, oh, right. Oh. Then of course you add a little shape, these movements here, okay? But the basic of it, for example, is just to stand here. Now you don't have the staff or you're holding it, but you're not holding it out there. My initial movement pattern is linear. I'm forming a V, and the staff becomes an extension of your point. But after a while, say, so you can think Republican and vote Democrat or vice versa. It depends totally on the situation, okay? You're free. You're not confused. Sometimes it's the lesser of two evils. But, okay, maybe you can handle the lesser, and maybe the more dominant evil is going to be a lot more disruptive. So you make a choice. And so your motion pattern reflects, mainly we can be very linear, okay? Now, this is the dyslexic pattern. Cool, rational, over-emotional, okay? Remember what Bruce Lee said, emotional content, not anger. You have your discernment, and you also have your passion, and they're not like on two separate tracks. God, I've been so emotional today, I can't get out of it. What's everybody's problem? Those are two emotional extremes, right? So you want both. Yeah, there are people dying out there right now. All right. Right now, none of us, that's good, but we go, eh. All right, or conversely, oh, we're all doomed. You can't do that. But that point reflects, the X, not the parallel lines. You see what I mean? Okay? So when you're moving right, there's also left. When you're moving left, there's also right. Okay? Yeah. Now, what we're going to do, this is we call a Nikyo position. I'm going to so caught up in that. We can now coordinate that with that. That with the change. That with the change. See? I'm swatting, forming a V. Boom, boom, boom. I'm like a basketball player. I can shoot, but there's Stephen Curry wide open with a better shot. I better not shoot it. But if I'm saying, I got to shoot it, it's like there's Steph waiting for the ball, you know? So it's common sense. Sometimes opportunity is right there, but we're so locked into this pattern, we don't see it. So there's a little bit of reorganization. Now you got to turn the staff a little bit more, but we're doing the same thing. Now careful for forming a more advanced version of the V. See, the point then becomes a point of transfer here, right here. But I can go this way and keep my tabs on that. I can go this way. I can vote Republican and still keep an eye on the condition of the world in a democratic perspective. I can vote Democrat and still have a perspective on the world from a Republican. See what I mean? And if I get too much, I'm confused. I voted Republican since 1902. All of a sudden, that's hard. I'm too rigid. I'm not paying attention to the world. I'm just paying attention to my own locked mind. And I might have a lot of emotion. I'm really confused. Okay? Yeah. This is the nation right now. All right. So, since they left us kind of a tool where we could reorient. Linear thinker. If I'm Stephen Curry, I can shoot the ball anytime I want. But if Clay's right open under the hoop, 2 points, boom, he gets the ball. Okay? All right? If one guy is really on me, I'm going to throw the ball away, but see if he can chase me around screens. So I'm flexible with the ball. I have to have the ball. No, here. I'm going to be ready. And, oh my God, there's a hoop again. What does that mean? It probably means that follow the rules. Oh my God. Okay. No competitive play allowed. Good. Okay. So anyway. Right. So you want this free and easy. Sometimes you're walking, somebody comes at you. It's like, here's the boom, boom. All right. Right. You know, that's a boom, 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 boom. Somebody's coming. That motion as opposed to that motion. See, the V motion is really. I'm getting, I may get one thing here, but I can't adapt. All of a sudden, I got to go the other way. Okay, for example, here, when he really overemphasizes, comes at me. Okay, boom, boom. I can shift. Boom. Not that motion. And I'm at V. I always either two and flight. And here I got a choice. Okay, there's a fire. We got to evacuate. I'm not going to try to be stupid. And somebody says evacuate. I'm going to check the source before I do. You see that feeling there? You say, I'm going to commit seppuku. Kiddo on the other side. You did that, and I like to see my daughter. You have no follow-up. Oh, okay, let me check. No, he didn't. That was just a practical joke. Okay. You want to be in your center. You want anything out there to, in other words, if this happens, I'm okay. If that happens, I'm that way. It's like, Now we're doing the second change, which requires a little integration. So you get, what are we doing right here? We're getting the beginnings of figure 8 movement. Okay? Stay with the second change and establish your X. You'll find you got to. I'm Stephen Curry with the ball, 13 seconds left to decide the game, okay? And I'm looking shoot. I'm also looking if he has a shot. Draymond better passing angle. If all of a sudden our D-League player is open right under the hoop for a dunk, all right? And if none of those are there, I'm going to step back and nail the game winner. That's just about it, okay? So we're not athletes. We're not making $40 million a year, but that's one of the reasons Curry's making $40 million a year. He has that ability. Okay, he makes good choices, as far as I can tell. Okay, so he has good kids. He's got good parents. He's got a good life. Okay. Now, this is a little easier change. This is your Sankyo change. Nikkyo is hard. Nikkyo is the hardest change here. Sankyo, thumbs face here. Here. Okay. It may take you a little bit to orient, but you need to have over yourself. One way of looking at it, went over the linear, went over the more dyslexic pattern. Okay, I'm emotional, other emotional. You get me riled up, you get me angry, you get me afraid, whatever it is. I can't do anything but be that. Conversely, what's your problem? I can't see or so you're so invested in something. I'm stuck over here. All I see is the poles and all I see is whatever. And I got absolutely no human feeling for what's going on in the world. And that's another, sometimes I think Mr. Spock on Star Trek is not true. He's Vulcan, but he's half human. Which means, of course, there's a battle inside the logical viewpoint, but he has an emotion that made the character really fascinating. And he's so cool. Because he feels, he's just outwardly Vulcan, right? So that's an example. If I was just totally coldly Vulcan, or conversely, I'm Dr. McCoy, who emotes everything. And so if you put them together, you don't get Captain Kirk, you get Mr. Spock. Just Spock would be, just really the meld between human and Vulcan. So, one of the things we're doing is, for example, here, if he's coming in, see, if I see it coming, I have enough time. But if it's a little quicker here, I got to make an adjustment. The difference there, give more choices. There's a guy, Jose Canseco. He could hit him a long way, and he could look at it, and then, if it was what he wanted, he could drive it. Okay? Big, muscular, chemically enhanced. Bonds probably took the chemicals. Everybody was juicing. But Bonds could work a count. You saw Barry over there. He'd always put his bat in a spiral, and he's right there, and you're thinking, if you're the pitcher going, holy crap. I know Chanseko, you know, let's make him, yeah, he's going to get his mistakes to impress, but I know I'm out. Bonds, knock him. He's loaded, only one run, not a grand slam, you know, that sort of thing. Because Bonds had it down. You know, counterintuitive. Yastrzemski's hitting really well this year. Of course, the last 3 games, Giants haven't gotten anything. But somebody said, "What are you doing?" He says, "Well, I'm being much more selective. I'll try 3, but I don't do anything with that pitch. So the fewer swings, the more selective, the more he's going to pick his pitches. He's going to get fooled like everybody else." But I thought that's interesting. It's very counterintuitive. Yeah, in this situation, I'm going to take strike. You can do that. You know, if it's a situation where it's a game on the line and 2 outs, you can't take strike 3. You got to swing, right? You see what I mean? In other words, here, not either this or that. There's shades here. You see that? And so when you have this, you're flexible. You have a direction. You have a focus. I know, well, I'm going to vote, and it won't be Republican. But on the other hand, it'll be easy. I don't want to get cut on this track or that track. You see what I mean? So there's a lot in Aikido. In no sense they said, don't judge things good and evil. It kind of was onto something. Yeah, you got to discern certain things are pretty evil. But you don't judge. It's a discernment. Yeah, inappropriate, not healthy, but I don't want to judge it and hate it. Okay? I'm letting what's out there, I'm evil in the world, push me to one or the other. And to handle that evil, guess what? I got to be cool. That makes sense? Yeah. Okay. For example, if we were to take motion and that motion. So we're starting with a showman. Now I want you to see, even though I'm changing sides, basically what I'm doing is swinging. And I kind of want you to see where hips are going away. That's going over there. It's getting me off the line. Okay, for example, if he's coming in, then we go, come on in. I don't have to force my point. So if the sword is going this way, but the hips are opening, aren't they? The hips are bailing out over here, but the hips are opening. And so you are actually getting some power in that cut, but you're also off the line of another cut or thrust. Dan, that's kind of a push, which means you're swinging. Just kind of one of the, you could move this and still be a triangle. You see what I mean? Right here, it's not a triangle anymore. It's a line. Okay, so let's try that. Hold your right hand. Okay, it's a line. Now, stick isn't going to move that much. Now we're going to go back to the line, and we're going to do that. You don't want that point to move very much. Okay, good. Now, see if you can keep that same thing of the strikes. That's a much more efficient you. Yeah, we're gonna have feelings and emotions about stuff, but when we're clued into it, we can't do anything. And we can very easily fool. Trump won. Oh, I'm gonna get seppuku. Well, ha ha! You see, so feel and see if you can kind of integrate. You can see that whether you're studying it, you're in more of a neutral place. You're not in the V, but you're not quite as consistent. You feel the difference? Yeah. Okay. Okay. The yoke. Okay. Now, come with the showman. See what I do that? All right. So come in. That's the yoko. You see what I mean? If I get two, see, I got to break that movement pattern down. Okay. You're a seventh grader, and you can stand there and in 30 years, knock the ball that's away, you get the rebound. Now, I'm going to get you a nice step in here. You got to stay with me at the head of the key in 3 beats 2. And if you can't stay there, we're just going to keep switching and switching until all of a sudden you're out of the game. We don't have to worry about it. See what I mean? And so you can move your feet. You can stay with for a couple of steps a wily point guard. See that feeling a little bit? And even though it's going left and I'm rotating to the right, you see the right. Now I have a triangle that protects me. See, if I'm right here, you can come in right. Let's see right here. Boom. Yeah. There's a real geometry to it. Yeah, that's it. And now you're fluid. If you need to, boom, you can add an exclamation point to it, but you're not. I'm so stuck in grammar, I can't write an essay. So we want to say, well, there are editors. Here's my manuscript, and I'm going to edit what you edit because I don't want you to change the spirit, but yeah, my grammar needs work. So, okay. Okay. So, see, most of the time we're not going to be standing in a triangle. But see, right here, you can find a triangle very easily. There's a point inside you. But when I focus on that point, it doesn't help me about out there at all. Think of your setting when somebody's really locked onto your wrist, not going to help you much. Now, when I just focus on the movement out there and lose this totally, oh, okay, right here, okay. There's a turning motion. Let's see. Oh, okay. Most every movement in Aikido, you have a choice between the V, the swing, and the X. I'm not talking about a former partner, or what, so we use the term ex this culture, you think, oh, my ex, well, yeah, most people have them. Okay, not that sort of ex. Okay? Yeah, okay. Now what we're doing here, what we're doing here there is exploring, okay, like you stand non-han me. Okay, now this is a V. It swings. Now this is an X. So, in other words, you can go that way and have a tab that way. The thing is, you can vote Republican and have a soul. Okay, that feeling a little bit right there. All right, yeah. Okay. And a lot of Aikido movements, we get caught out here. But when you sort of get the X in the movement, all right, now you'll notice the hands don't go that much. That point out here means you're connected to the point here, right? So we're kind of exploring that. There's an expression, it's called dyslexia. And a lot of that means that, okay, it's like two parallel lines. I can be totally emotional. I can't see the forest for the trees. And here I can be totally coldly logical without any feeling. It's like, what's your problem? You see what I mean? I can't see what you're going to have. No empathy. What's your problem? Okay. I've done more for black people than since Abraham Lincoln. It's like, okay, well, certain people buy that, don't they? They have no capacity to feel for somebody else. But here you see the X is an integration, isn't it? Isn't it? In other words, I can look at the Republican viewpoint. I know who I am. Conversely, I'm not a Donald Trump cult member. I consider the welfare of the country. Right? So you have a certain amount there. Now, when I start to swing back and forth, I'm confused. It's called swing states, swing voters. I don't know why anybody swing this time. You see what I mean? But that's what happens. People go, okay, I voted this way, and my father voted this way. Well, maybe it's time for you to go that way. You're still you. Okay, so you begin to see that. Okay, now what's hard to see, we either form a line or we form a swing. Now we're forming an X that's extremely long, almost like two lines. You don't see they're an X, but they are, and that's your thrust. And when you kind of do that, you form the spiral, a useful spiral. This sort of spiral doesn't get me anything. But then again, trying to beat somebody with power or speed doesn't get the Aikido effect, right? Okay, so that's what we're doing. It's not about exactly, and then, what we're doing is, for example, I'm swinging this way, I go here, I swing back the other way. But right about here, see, my hips are opening, the staff is going over there, boom. Now when I do this, it can boom, the motion is very adaptable. You see what I mean? So linear, we all start this way. We all start with the V, but we're supposed to, in life, be able to find the X. There's always going to be opposition, right? Can I just go out there and vote for Biden and not hate Trump? That's hard. But, the hatred, that plays into his hands because that's what he's trying to do. So I said, but goodbye. Hope you wind up in jail, but okay, all right, good. Now you see that those two patterns are very, very close. If you look at the form, what people learn to do, they need to do the V. They learn to do the V smoother and stronger. But the big move is where you Whoops. Yeah. The big move is where you start to understand the X. See, since they kind of took the X and he formed a plus sign with it, but still an X. You see what I mean? You rotate it, but you turn this here and you've got the cross. It's very tricky, but a lot of his movement and he said things like stand on the floating bridge. Well, you're standing at that place where, depending on the situation, you, with your movement, form an X as opposed to a V. When you're forming the V, you're either going to be fight or you're going to be flight. And so right where you are, just relax for a second. Feel your feet. Now you can't calibrate that point because we've been operating from it. All right. Sometimes you say, okay, I'm supposed to think of that when I train. But when you do that, everything goes to hell out there because you're kind of fixing here. And that's not what the point is supposed to be. You're supposed to understand that point in motion. So after you move in a way that that point is there, then you stand here and you can get a sense of that point. And you have a sense of the point, he's coming to thrust or something, then all of a sudden you always have, if he's coming to thrust right here, then okay, boom, boom. You become very adaptable. You see what I mean? I have to survive if Trump wins. I don't want to think about it. I've had conversations, maybe we should move to another country, those things, okay? Right? But by and large, no. You say, I have to say, okay, if he wins, okay, I got over in 2016 when LeBron won. Okay, now I think he's pretty cool because he's standing up, to the establishment, so to speak, talking about, this stuff that's going on is more important than making money playing basketball. Okay, so more power to him. If Steph were up there in the playoffs, he'd be doing the same thing. He's just not quite as high profile, but he supports LeBron. Okay. There's time to play and do your job, and there's time to kind of soul search. Okay. If all you're doing is soul searching, this is going to, but if all you do is steely over here, I'm going to play basketball because that's what my father would have done and his grandfather. No, so come on. This is right here. All right, whatever your game is right there, yeah. Don't quit your job. Don't move to Canada, although we may. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of looking at that thinking, gee, what happens? Well, I don't know. And so if I were Biden, I'd say, you keep your distance as supposed to. And then, he's going to be flailing away. And sooner or later, he's going to say something really stupid. And people will realize he's what he's accusing you of. You say? And so, the Aikido is finding that point, right? One direction, if you're just purely fire, emotion, or you're just water, logic, fire and water. I want to go that way too, the swinging motion. I can slip it. I don't have to fight it. I can deflect it and let it go its point where it does itself in. That's a lot of what Aikido is about. And I'll tell you, when I'm kind of in a very, very tense place, everything is this way. So, some of this is we're training for more than just, all right. Now, if you do the form, if you focus on the form, you'll get better at this. You'll get smoother. You'll get stronger. But the whole thing is to actually shift from that to this. The difference when I was in Shingu, there were the younger teachers, and they were much stronger than you were. Get bloodied up or beaten up. And then there was the teachers, who was really very good. And yeah, they would put you through it for your own development. I mean, that was years ago. But you knew they were operating from a different dimension than these guys. Oh, this guy's faster than I am. Oh, he knows how to bash me in the face on the way down from Inarimi Nage. Oh, okay. But if you work with Ando Sensei or Tojima Sensei, they were different. Or Yanasa Sensei, right? Yeah. Okay. So one of the things here, let's say he's coming with a thrusting motion, we get this motion here. If he's pushing, push, 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 good. Let's get out of it. You're flexible. See, if he's pushing this way, maybe I should just go somewhere that he's not pushing. Now, we can sort of do this, which I hope Biden doesn't do, which is he's Trump and I know. Sorry, I think that was an untruth, statistically. I'd be wired and so forth. He just said a lie. This is what's going on. So you're cool as we have the technology for that. Misinformation. Dot, 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 dot. And you can have somebody really sharp just going into that very quick, and you don't lose your cool. Okay? So what happens, the world tends to push, but when it pushes, go push, 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 good, good. You keep yourself. Conversely, if he's got his guard down, let it collapse right there and say, wake up, we're in a debate. You see what I mean? There's kind of, then you have a pretty sophisticated, humane martial art. Right? When you start to have to win, then a lot of times you look at our president, he has to win. That's a disease. No, we have to learn to get along with one another and produce a good life for ourselves. That's what we got to do. And learn to come from more of a place of truth and integrity and moral, I would say, moral standing just means that, no, winning at all costs, it's not worth it. What you're really doing is you're destroying yourself, your own moral fiber. Sometimes it's good, The greatest gift the Warriors gave me was blowing 2016. And I was pissed off and I was like disillusioned. And I thought, God, LeBron is the worst in the world and he won. And I look back upon it and I thought, well, yeah, that lets me know where I was, And now I just say, hey, the guy supports the right causes. He's, trying to restore voting rights to ex-convicts, things like that. He wants to get the vote out. It's good. Do I support him? Yeah. And if he was playing the Warriors again, I'd root against him. But that's just the fun of being a fan. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's just a game, right? Not just a game. It's like, then it's more fun. If you don't root, it's not fun. But on the other hand, just because you root for this, all right? But, it was a great gift to actually just absolutely, totally inexplicably lose. Wow. Okay. All right. So, stay on track. This is winning. This is winning. And, there are a number of different moves you can do with hand changes. We do this motion sometimes, you know, there's this fire-water change. See, I can be making the change going another direction, and I can figure eight, and I can go into the, see what I mean? I'm turning one direction, and the center circle are spinning the other way. See, if I just keep going, whoops, that's what happens. I try to go linear off running that flow, and I just, something hits me. You see what I mean? So we do this, but can we do this? And can we figure eight? This is a drill that I was having people do for a while. And this is very, you know, this is compared to what we have been doing, try it. Walk in a direction. Now here we're forming with the hands a center, and the staff is spinning in a circle around that center. But I'm going one direction with my body, and the staff is going the other direction. Now, if I figure eight without stopping, I can change the direction of the body and change the direction of the staff. And I'm reprogramming. What is the linear one? It's programmed that way. Okay? I got everything on Windows XP. All of a sudden, I got Windows 2020. Guess what? A lot of my Windows XP programs, I got to upgrade. Real pain in the butt. But they're better programs. Right? And I can be, you know, an old fuddy-duddy and complain, or I can say, get with it. Right? Okay? If you drop it, that's fine. That's part of learning. I might not do this sort of a fancy move if my life is on the line. But my life is on the line, I want to be in the X, not the V. You see what I mean? If I'm going to give my life, I'll give it for the right reason. All right? Or conversely, you know, this is not worth winning. You say, you're going to give your life, make sure you give for the right reasons. All right? Get to the X. Okay. David, do you have a time clock there?
12:30.
Oh my gosh, okay. That's good. So we haven't focused on quote unquote a definite move, but this is if somebody is coming at you, then all of a sudden you have the ability to social distance. Sorry, Steve. You see what I mean? See, when you have this, you have a choice. Okay. In other words, here I see I'm already swinging here. See, if he's thinking about following me, he doesn't know how far I'm going to go. I'm adaptable, right in that I can swing a little bit more if he's trying to crowd me. Okay? And he's holding back to see my move. Maybe I ought to just say hasta la vista. All right? And then he chases me, and then, you know, I have my, you see? So the reward for finding yourself is a certain amount of sophistication and freedom. You don't let the situation define you this way or that way. Good or evil is a very bad choice because both tend to be a judgment. And this is a very complex world where what's good and what's evil are changing pretty fast. And you got to be kind of quick. what was it of that movie Ferris Bueller? Life is moving kind of quick. You got to be fast or you'll miss it, right? And Sensei's time, the people who came at him were coming kind of quick, right? Ano Sensei said, it's like, Sensei would call him up, and Ano Sensei would be saying, he's an old man, and I better be gentle. And Sensei would get pissed at him. And they said, really do it, really attack. I won't accept anything. And then Ano Sensei come in and he'd go flying. Because Sensei wanted him not to just, oh, he's the grand master with the beard. You don't want that because, then Ano Sensei, when he gets old, has a beard and says, you're supposed to fall down. You see what I mean? And so he's trying to tell Ano Sensei, Moto Michi-san, you're young and robust right now, and I'm an old man, but I'm going to show you something about how the universe works. So when you get this age, you're going to have some of that. You see what I mean? So, there's a point where, Ano Sensei, when he was young, he's told me, he's fast, he's physically really strong. He used to farm and work in a factory and everything like that. Yeah. And okay. So, adaptability. Now check right here. Put your staff right here. You don't want to be leaning on the staff, or you don't, see right here, I'm not even feeling I'm holding a staff. The staff is a part of your body feel. It's almost right here, your tripod, because you've got 2 feet and the staff. Now take the tripod away, check your balance. Somewhere there, lurking there, there's a sense of the 1 point. Okay, that's what you want. And you can get busy, but if you just go easy or settle or calm, there's the sense of the 1 point. That's what you want. Okay? If you're focusing on this all the time, you bump into things and things bump back into you. Because the world will wake you up. It's like a Zen master going, you're sleeping in meditation, whack. Okay? So just right there. Now from there, you can move. And right there, for example, you're going to say, I have to move. It's like, there's stillness, there's motion. There's stillness again. And there's movement again. I got to walk over there, there's movement. But then again, there's a little time to kind of find the stillness. Now, the stillness is where you fuel up. It's like you drive the car so much you run out of gas and there's nobody around and your phone's broken, you can't call for gas, you're in trouble. So just by being easy, the stillness is where you're refueling. And then more activity. There's more stillness. If you start to feel the stillness, that's one of the gifts you get with the 1 point. There's movement and there's stillness. I'm either going to move until I collapse or I'm just going to be in a stupor. I don't know what to do. The country's totally gone. Trump's rising in the polls. Yeah, all that's going on. And we're right here. Okay? Now, this is again something you can try. It's a little bit more advanced. Spread apart a bit. There's stillness and there's motion. And there's stillness and there's motion. Boom, boom. There's stillness and there's motion. When I'm thinking about what the move is going to be, I'm not in stillness. So you clear. And all of a sudden, boom, 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 you find there are movements that start to happen. The movements come out of the stillness. Conversely, I'm moving, moving, moving. Where does all that motion go? It goes back to stillness, which starts the next series of moves. Everything starts from stillness, moves, goes back to stillness. Likewise, everything in motion goes to stillness for the next new movement to happen. So experiment with that a bit. Just movement, stillness, 2 Sensei's 8 powers. Okay. Now, one of the things, for example, when you are still, you're still. When you move, you move. Okay? But the stillness is very alive. So again, when you say, okay, I'm still, now I'm going to move. No, still, there's motion. Boom. Likewise, the movement itself is not frenetic. There's kind of a stillness to the motion. It goes to stillness, and then it goes back out in a way that is still has that stillness in it. So you can look at it. If you're a movement person, you got to find out about stillness. Conversely, if all you want to do is meditate, you got to move and feel how that meditator's face applies. All right? I don't like what's going on in the country. I'm going to just meditate for a while. Well, guess what? It's not going to change right now what's going on in the country. Right? But it might help me lower my blood pressure, decrease a lot of my personal stress by thinking a lot of really weird thoughts. And it could help me be a little bit more discerning about what to do with what's going on out there and how I fit into it. So the meditation is, on the other hand, the world is the world. As I get increasingly easy, the stillness, then maybe the world starts to move around me in a little bit more of a harmony. Okay? So, the actual sense of it, what was that? I guess it was Thursday. Nado Sensei calls. He says, Jack, I'm going to work on this and that. And we had a pretty long discussion. And basically, I'm using different terms, okay? This is the linear thinker. What do I do? If Trump wins, I'm going to move to Canada. Well, maybe I can't move to Canada. I got a dojo and I've got, so I'm kind of caught it. I'm like this and I'm stressing out, right? Okay, now I can say, well, I'm keeping my options open. I may move to Canada or I may become more of a political activist. Okay, yeah, okay. And Nado Sensei's contention, okay, which is actually a valid one. This one learned some tricks. But you go from this one, and he used an interesting term. It's a trade-in. It's a trade-in. Trade-in. See what I mean? You're trading one in for the other. They're supposed to try to teach this one to do tricks. Now, there are degrees of that. Boom, 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 boom. Most great athletes can do that. I can look this way and throw that way. Boom. I can be positioned for a fastball and fight off a slider in the dirt. Oh, boom. Okay. Yeah. I can cross over and go to the hoop, or I can step back and shoot a three. Or I can cross over and all of a sudden Clay's wide open. I give him the ball. So those are movement systems with athletics, but we kind of need that these days because the world is changing so fast, just like the poles. Well, I like the poles. No, I don't like the poles today. It's like, yeah, okay, easy. Okay? David, what's the clock look like?
20 minutes.
20 minutes before or after?
Before 1.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So one of the things, for example, just take this motion. We were doing that one. Boom. See, this is the swinger. Now this is the nonlinear. Yeah, yeah. And easy. One thing you'll find the non-linear one is a lot easier with things. The linear one is either great or screw this. You see what I mean? Yeah, it's really shocking, it's really shocking how we get so into these tracks and this one, the world is good. Oh, commit seppuku. No, let's maybe the answer is to become more politically active. I don't know. Well, it's a trade-in. I'm starting to lock into a form or, right? Yeah, those right there. You kind of crossed over. This was one. The next one you did was this one. That way. It's very subtle. After a while, they're very, very, you begin to realize lesser level of me swings back and forth and gets stuck oftentimes. I get a lot of energy. I get stuck over here and being very emotional. You can't talk to me, or I don't know what your problem is. Women have it good here. What's your problem? Well, women don't have it good here. I've done more for blacks than anybody since Abraham Lincoln. What's your problem? You see what I mean? That's very strange. And so psychologists look at that sort of behavior and they go, sociopathic, narcissistic, malignant. Yeah, it's not healthy to lock that way. And so as we get the dexterity, what do you love, fire or water? Depends on the situation. I like them both, and I have to blend with both sometimes. Okay, yeah, that's good. See what I mean? Right there, your movement pattern is different. It's a different level of you. You traded in the V for the X, okay? Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Now, one thing that you said was kind of interesting because what you said was a lot of times when you're getting energy, you get emotional. Do you know what I mean? That's very natural. So one of the things here is that, that's tremendous amount of energy. That's good. But I'm getting overly emotional. As Bruce Lee say, I said emotional content, not anger. And so you're able to kind of balance. There's also this part of you that's very intelligent, can be very, very rational. And you don't want to get caught here, and then all of a sudden you're on the other side when you're getting some energy comes up. You want to go, okay, got both. You see what I mean? And that's the move. That's your floating bridge of heaven right there. You see what I mean? Yeah. I don't know. I feel a little uncomfortable here because it's da. Easy. Oh, starting to catch the beat here. I can look at that viewpoint, understand how that person's feeling, and also how I feel, but I'm also able to see the other side. I can kind of do both. I'm not stuck here or stuck there. Getting a lot of energy. I'm getting very emotional. I don't see the pattern. How come these people don't get the pattern? The docent it's really funny. Jack, how come they don't get it? I said, well, it's a hard move. They don't see. Well, okay, well, don't you be swinging back and forth. If you use them as a gauge, yeah, you're gonna get stuck going this way. Go here. It's easy. We all started that way, but click, click, click. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So any motion. Okay, I have a form. I like flow. Form, flow, flow, form. I want a strong movement. There's Dave Kingman or Jose Canseco. You hang a breaking pitch or give them something a mistake, they drive it 600 feet. And then there's Barry Bonds or Sadaharu O. Mr. O without the chemicals. Okay. Who's a better hitter? Probably O. Yeah, either's going to be in the Hall of Fame here, but there are other issues there. Right? Easy, 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 easy. Steve, you've got the triangle. But see, there's also the circle, which means it's very adaptable. See, right here, I can continue to turn. I got another triangle. I can continue to turn. I got another triangle. And see, again, it's going that way, but see, it's not this. See that opening motion? Yeah. So oh, see, this helps me either continue moving in that direction, or it gathers and it's very adaptable, and it's like a crossover. Doesn't matter how fast I go this way, I have to be able to boom, boom, right? Yeah. So the adaptability. One thunderous LeBron dunk isn't worth a Stephen Curry three. Three beats two. Boom, 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 boom. Oh. Okay. Now, what you can do, for example, is you have to approach it a variety of different ways. Okay. Now, for example, series of wind chimes, and you're just stroking each one of them. Now, if I go this way, it's one ungarbled sound. But if I go this way, they tinkle. Boom, boom, boom. That's visual, and that's energy. Boom, boom. Dun, dun, da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. That sort of motion. Da, da, da. I may go octave here. Da, da. Or I may go da, da. Da, da, da. In music, that's what you're doing. You're taking the scale, you're slicing it up, and you're putting it in various heights and lengths within a measure. That's all you do. As you get better, this measure, subconsciously you're creating the next measure. And there's an underlying structure, which is your scale, but then also the underlying schedule of the other musicians playing their chords for you if you're the soloist. You can't just go this way and play your own thing. You're playing off of what the bass player does, the piano player, the drummer. All right, then you're like Chet Baker or Miles Davis or, okay? But this is very similar. Boom, boom. After almost any movement, boom, there are wind chimes. Major note, boom, boom. There's a couple of others, boom, boom. That's the way, because sometimes it's like, okay, I get it now. but I keep going back and forth. So sometimes you got to just sort of, you know, da 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 da. So the game is you go this way, there's a note. You go this way, there's a variety of notes. Sweeps, da 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 da. Whatever movement you make, you're hitting a wind chime. Boom, 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 boom. Okay? And when you start to move, you move your hands, you're also creating notes off of wind chimes. And I'll tell you, when you can do that experientially, you are in the X. Try to figure out and do it. Da, dee, da, da, doo, dee, da, da, dee, dee. Any part of your body moves, it creates a wind chime. Boom, bum, bum, beep, beep, boom, 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 ba, da, ba, dee, da, da, dee, 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 dee. So expand it out. Now that's what we call the dimensional shift. That's better. You see what I mean? See, both that and that touch the wind chimes. Boom. And the notes linger. Boom. Still going on. Or bum, 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 bum. Several notes. Still going on. Boom, 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 boom. Whatever move you have touches a wind chime. Boom, boom. And your body, see, if you grab, it's almost like that has a little note to it. And I can get caught out there trying to swing, or see, I'm doing the X, my normal, dimensionally finer, right? See, all right. So that's another way of doing it. You can work energy. And no Sensei, when he was out there, he was in a different world, a different universe. Somebody attack him, he would hear the wind chimes coming, he could feel that he was over something, right? In fact, he was so good that, this one guy goes to the bathroom with him. I don't know why. Goes to the toilet with him and says, I think I could fool him and attack him here. And he turns around and says, somebody's thinking bad thoughts about me now. It's a point where he could pick the vibes up. The guy's creating wind chimes. But if you're too noisy, and this is very noisy, you don't hear. All you're doing is creating noise. Da 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 da. But right here, when I start to do that, see, I'm also starting to get, boom, all of a sudden I'm back in the dimension of the X, as opposed to locked into or improving my V motion. Okay? So play around with it. Okay? Just whatever your emotion is, it creates something in the wind chimes. And you're creating music. The wind creates beautiful music. Me colliding and hitting the wind chimes creates noise. Yeah. And a lot of wind chimes, then they create shapes to the sounds. Figure eights, boom. Circle spirals, boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. I'm doing scales here. Da 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 da. Okay, Steve, don't break the chimes. Boom, boom, boom. In other words, it's like, I'm going to hit it, but I'm going to break it. No. Boom, 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 boom. See, if you're coming this direction, boom, 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 you want to be very flexible. Okay, you come at me with your best, and my best is going to get your best. No, boom, boom, boom. You want to be able to drop that and just, okay, you know, because, and the way that it is, if we're tied to getting strong, I mean, it's a little bit like, I want the police to be strong. I got friends in the police department and motorcycle gangs. They're going to beat all those liberal Nazis up. Although how do you have a liberal Nazi? I mean, that's like, no, it's a Nazi speaking about, you see what I mean? And that is really, you're so infected with yourself. It's called narcissism. And it's so strong that the only thing it's going to do is, unfortunately, what's funny about that, as far as I can tell, is, people that are really anger-based, they're actually healthier than people that aren't. Because we're affected by all that stuff. And somebody who's just angry, they just burn it off until it reaches, if it gets too toxic, they go down. But they can take a lot more than we can. That's the sad fact about it. You get somebody in a position of power who's just toxic that way, they last a long time. And they create a lot of cult members. Because I read something where it's like, Donald Trump is the real Captain America. Think about that for a second. I saw that, I posted it on Facebook, and I said, no, Captain America represents the spirit of the country. You may or may not like what America is right now, but the spirit of it is what Captain America represents: bravery, truth, social equality as opposed to bullying. Okay. And I just said, hey, this guy in the White House is not Captain America. Not at all. But some idiot fan says he's the real Captain America. Not really. Read a Captain America comic sometime. Okay? So you don't want to get to where you're breaking the chimes. Boom, that's enough. Now, if you want to make a loud note, boom, you do that. But then you can go back to that, and all of a sudden, boom, you have to make your point in the debate. Boom, you do it. But you don't have to hit every chime. Boom, 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 boom. You can touch more chimes. You're much more adaptable. Boom. If he comes in that way, we'll go this way, and we go boom. If you have to lower the hammer, you can. But most of the time, you're easy, and you respect people. You see what I mean? If you get too into, I got to break you, I got to break you, I got to break you, it's like, guess what? I either drive you away or we form a great cult. Both of which are destructive. Destructive. Okay? And see, when one of these things gets too strong and they're separate, one side, this is anger. The other side, all he knows how to do is watch Fox News. I don't like Fox News so much. There's another one that talks better about me. Watch that one. All right? So we don't want to be that way. Sometimes the negative example is good because we get to check. That which I hate, I'm reacting to, so I'm starting to become that. So, cool. Enough. I don't open a lot of the stuff. It says Trump. I look at what it is on my feed, go, okay, next. If it's something that I go, okay, I need to be informed about it. But I used to, after a while, all you do is make yourself sick. Okay, all right. Let's
It's 1 o'clock.
Okay, all right, okay. This is an important one, okay? So something you can kind of play around with. Take your movements, realize, see this? That's another form of a V, isn't it? But on the other hand, boom, that motion, okay? See, I'm Curry, what can I do? I can either take the shot here or throw it up over the rim for somebody to dunk. Boom. And it goes through the hoop. Maybe I'm 3, maybe that's 2, but maybe 2 is enough to win. Boom. So just that, just play around with the X as opposed to the V. Okay? All right, let's bow out and we'll kind of call it for today. Okay. Why don't you join us just for a second? We'll be done. Okay? All right. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank
Everybody
you.
stay safe. Okay, and work on your X. Okay? All right, thank you.
Okay, so, you know where I'm thinking about the Tai Chi? I'm thinking we get much better acoustics in my living room